Hello. Although Galloway is noted for its wee towns and village which are so beautifully kept, I don't think anybody could dispute that the bonniest of them all is Kirkcudbright, the capital of the Stewartry on the estuary of the River Dee. Well, these are the names of famous artists, Taylor and King, husband and wife, whose house Greengates was entered by this picturesque wee close. And just down the street from it is the toll booth, the place of imprisonment and execution. The last witch was put to death here in 1698. Paul Jones, the Solway pirate, founder of the American Navy, was imprisoned for a night or two here on suspicion of murder. The old Mercat Cross, it's dated 1610. And for petty crime in these days, you could find yourself on a chain and with a collar round your neck on public exhibition. But just up the street, there is a permanent exhibition of another kind in Broughton House, which was the home of E.A. Hornell. He bought the 18th century mansion in 1901. He died a bachelor in 1933 and left its contents in trust to the townsfolk of Kirkcudbright. He painted this portrait in Antwerp in 1884 when he studied under the Belgian master Verlat. Compare it to the same subject done a year later and note the improvement in the treatment. These early works are very rare. Rosy-cheeked maidens were a favourite subject. I had the good fortune to track down one of his models. On that picture on the wall showing three wee lasses, all the faces are yours.
Yes, yes.
You must have been awful fond of a lassie with a nice round face. Can you remember how much he paid you for sitting for the pictures?
6 and a shilling at Easter. I forgot about that. And a shilling at Christmas time. And a penny for Rosy.
And did he actually paint you while you were sitting for him?
No, he would put me into a sheet and take my photo.
Well, you were a guy wee lassie in these photographs.
Aye, but I was younger as that when I went first. A good bit younger.
Hornell's first success came at the age of 19 when he submitted a painting with the title A Glimpse of Kirkcudbright, and it was accepted by the Royal Scottish Academy. His ancestry was Galloway, but he was born in Australia. Japan boosted Hornell's infatuation with contrasting bright colours, and Oriental ladies in brilliant dresses particularly fascinated him. In seclusion, he laid out a Japanese garden, crafted like a jigsaw, each bit hidden from the other, itself a work of art. For local artists, Hornell's light still shines. Along here, a dilapidated building was restored with the help of the National Trust for Scotland. It's now the Harbour Gallery, exhibiting the work of local artists throughout the summer. The Kirkcudbright School of Painters, Taylor, Jesse King, Henry, Crawhall, Sir John Lavery, D.Y. Cameron and Hornell himself would approve of this fine setting for work. Alison Livingston, herself an exhibitor, has had a fair hand in it. Knowing that this building was in a state of collapse, it's marvellous to see how it's been renovated and all this work by local artists. What a variety of work.
Yes, tremendous variety. All kinds of artists and indeed craftspeople, and we sometimes have crafts exhibitions.
So the artistic tradition is still very strong here?
Oh yes, it is, very strong. There's a great deal of interest in all the work that is done and that's represented here.
Are they all professional painters who...
Well, I would say no. There are some professional painters, but there are a great many who are semi-professional.
Why is it that Kirkcudbright especially has attracted all the artists?
I think we really must thank Hornell for that. He came and lived here, and the Taylors, Jesse King and her husband, you know, and a number of their friends also came here and worked here, and they attracted a lot of painters. And this established Kirkcudbright as a centre where painters were happy. Then we have to realise that it's a very nicely set out town, and the background is extremely agreeable. So that, I think, is why it has continued.
There's no lack of subjects overlooking a harbour that dries out at low tide and glistens with water or mud.
When I did decide to set up as a potter, this old corn mill came into my attention, and it seemed to me ideal for my work. I reckon I was the first in Scotland to set up as a craft potter, selling to the public. Now, in Kirkcudbright, I decided that I would survive by catering for the summer visitors. And so this necessitated making quite a lot of small things, you know, mugs and jugs, small vases, coffee sets, etc. And I have survived for the 40 years. Kirkcudbright is a great place to be in. It has, of course, had an artistic tradition with the painters of the Glasgow School coming here in the early part of the century. It's a leisurely town. A friend of mine said you could stroll through Kirkcudbright, an experience that you can't have in many towns.
Tom Lochhead came here from a wee village southeast of Dumfries, and I would agree with that Kirkcudbright is the kind of place you can really enjoy a walk in. Glass engraver David Gulland was a school teacher and lay preacher in Fair Isle, Shetland, before setting up here in 1979. His kind of copper wheel engraving on glass creates the impression of sculptured images. The quality speaks for itself. Kirkcudbright harbours boats that fish for scallops beyond Burgh Head and the Mull of Galloway, or as far away as France. The dredged harbour can take big modern trawlers, and there's a factory for processing the catch. It's hard to believe, but in earlier times this was one of the most important harbours in Scotland, and even in the 18th century, when the town was wealthy, there was quite a trade with America. This busy corner contains a wee bit of everything that makes Kirkcudbright special. MacLennan's 16th century castle contains stones from the monastery of Greyfriars, which once stood here. And just below it, the War Memorial, superbly sculptured. It's no wonder a lot of retired folk come to live here, and maybe that accounts for the houses being so trimly kept. don't feel it's a place you want to hurry, when there's flowers in every other doorway and good views coming one after another. You know, the Gaelic language held on here into the 17th century, longer than anywhere else in lowland Scotland. Something else lingers on here in Kirkcudbright: grace, charm, and plenty of it.